Well, it's springtime.
Oh, it sure is.
As the weather has turned around, our local amusement park, Lagoon, is now open on the weekends.
Right. I always call this Utah's Disneyland.
Which is very true.
It is.
And it's becoming more and more like Disneyland. The fun thing for us, I think, is to come up here and ride the train.
Right.
They've got a steam train ride, and I mean, how good is that?
Oh, it'd be better to run into the Beach Boys.
And they used to be they were fixtures here for years.
Right.
It was a big deal. But if you lived pretty much anywhere in northern Utah or even central Utah, well, you came to Lagoon.
Right. And I never came here till I was in high school, and we all had driver's licenses because I was in the wrong end of the state.
Yeah, kind of hard to get here from where you were.
Yeah.
My uncle would bring us up here all the time, and he'd give us the lowdown on the Lagoon history, and
Right.
he'd been coming here since he was a kid in the
fun.
1930s.
That's cool.
But it's been around since the 1880s.
Oh, my.
Most of the rides that they have here are pretty modern.
Right.
They've gotten rid of most of the old rides. I think they just wore out.
Or they're trying to get people like me out of them, like that spinning barrel thing.
But there's a couple of rides here like the carousel that have been around for, I don't know, 150 years or something.
Right, and it's just not an amusement park without a carousel.
And preferably an antique carousel. But I think that's what makes walking around the amusement park here so fun.
Oh, I love seeing the kids enjoying themselves too.
The train goes in a big circle around the lake here, and always has.
Uh-huh.
I think going all the way back to when they moved the amusement park here. At some point in time it was moved here from a distant location, but it was moved here in like 1890 or something, or 1900. And since that time, there's been this train ride that goes around the lake.
Yes, and it's so much fun to ride it.
And in the back area back here, they put in a zoo. And now they're taking the zoo out.
Right. I think it's the animals are kind of cramped, and it's hard to see them when you ride the train through there.
Well, and it just feels sort of inappropriate.
Right.
So they're tearing all of this out, and I'm just looking forward to what they're going to put in.
Oh, I would like to see them do something similar to what Disneyland has done. Maybe put some features of Utah or Salt Lake that we could ride by and look at.
We're right on the backside of Pioneer Village. And it would be fun if there was sort of an extension of that Western Village look that came right down to the lake here with the train going through it.
I'd like to see that.
Pioneer Village was put in here in 1976 for the bicentennial.
Right.
And they bought it from a private collector, a man by the name of Sorensen. Well, actually, after he died. We've got a show on that whole history.
Right.
Here's a link to that, but it's absolutely fascinating that there was a guy that collected all this stuff and had this whole Western Village out on his property behind his house.
Right.
And now it's all been preserved and brought here to Lagoon. And they used to have a second train ride that was connected to the first train ride, but it went in a big loop around Pioneer Village here. And so they've kind of scaled back on the trains. Now it's just back to only going around the lake instead of also going around Pioneer Village.
Well, I think it'd be nice if they had the train come right through here at Pioneer Village where you could choose to get on or off right there.
Yeah, because even back in the day it was just two big loops.
Right.
And now that they're taking out the zoo, maybe they'll do that. Wouldn't that be great?
It would be.
But I think this is our favorite part of Lagoon.
Oh, I love Pioneer Village.
Just come back here and walk around and look at the hundreds and hundreds of displays here in Pioneer Village, one of which is this neat train station, which, as we say, at one time had the train coming to it.
Yes.
But there are great displays inside the train station the David Sperry collection of antique toy trains and other railroad artifacts and memorabilia. And there's even a complete three-rail model railroad built inside a passenger car.
That's fun.
That is so neat. It looks to me like they actually built the passenger car just for putting the model railroad inside it.
Right.
But all of this is just so cool. And I think my favorite thing, not just my favorite thing here in the train station, but maybe my favorite thing in the whole amusement park is Locomotive 999 here.
That was so neat.
It was built for the amusement park. It looks like a Cagney locomotive, but it was patterned after a Cagney. They copied a Cagney, but it was built by the Bamberger Railroad.
Oh, look at this.
And because they bought the amusement park from the original owners, the Denver and Rio Grande Western, who had put a narrow gauge line off of their main line out to the Great Salt Lake just as an attraction.
Ah.
And then the Bambergers bought it from them, and they moved it up to their main line, which was just a few miles from there. And then they built this amazing little tiny locomotive to go around the lake.
Oh, that's so neat.
And that locomotive is still here, and it's all restored, and it operates, but they don't run it. But it's just amazing.
Oh, I love it.
When we were kids, it was always on display in an unrestored, it was just outside, in fact, unrestored, and you could look at it. But again, in 1976, they restored it, and they actually started running it.
Yes, that's really neat.
And they ran it around Pioneer Village for a very short period of time.
Right.
And I guess they decided it was just more trouble than it was worth. So they put it in the train station on display. But it's totally restored, and it's just amazing.
It's really cute, too.
Anyway, what we're getting at is they do have the steam train.
They do.
And it goes around the lake, and they run it on steam in spite of the difficulties of doing that, and they fire it up every single day and run it around the lake.
Oh, yeah, several times. There's always a lineup for this ride.
They have 3 different locomotives here at Lagoon. They were all built by the Crown Metal Products Corporation of Wayno, Pennsylvania, the Williams family, as it were. But they made these amusement park engines back in the day. The locomotives don't have numbers, but when Crown built these, they gave them all names. This one was always known as the Houston because it was designed for Busch Gardens in Houston, Texas. It's patterned after a Bayer, Peacock and Company of an Indian prototype because that part of Busch Gardens was an Indian-themed area. They have 2 other Crown locomotives, one of which they run on a regular basis, which is patterned after an American prototype and is known as the Merriweather. It was built for Pixieland in Otis, Oregon. They have a 3rd locomotive, another American-style locomotive, which they're currently not operating. And this one was built for a private backyard railroad for Orville Gunther, the founder of Bank of American Fork.
That American Fork?
Yeah, just down the freeway here in Utah County.
Wow.
I didn't know there was a big backyard railroad down there, but there was. And they bought it.
Wow.
Again for the bicentennial in 1976. And they brought his entire train and locomotive here to Lagoon to be part of Pioneer Village.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're not running that locomotive now, but it's fully functional. They just have it on display.
Oh, they need to run it.
And speaking of backyard railroads, just across the freeway from Lagoon is a gigantic estate railroad, and they too have a 2-foot gauge Crown locomotive over here that used to run in Carson, Nevada. It's owned by a guy by the name of Flanders. He calls it the S&S Railroad. But that's interesting that there's another 2-foot gauge railroad just over there that also has a Crown engine. This is a diesel engine that he operates over there from Kansas City, Missouri. And it's also quite interesting that one of the guys who runs over here on Flanders Railroad bought himself a Crown locomotive, which he's restoring in Tremont, Utah, just up the freeway from here. And so how amazing is that?
That is amazing.
5 different Crown locomotives, all just right here within Flanders Railroad, just a couple miles from here.
Right.
Anyway, we'll get back to some other stuff. We hope you've enjoyed this, and we hope you want to follow along with the channel. And so if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe. And you can do that by clicking on the upcoming blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Sunday.
Right.
We'll see ya.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.